What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News. And I gotta counterpunch something today, man. I gotta definitely go on record and talk about a video that I just saw. And it was actually Eddie Hearn and DeBELLA within the same place, and they looked like they were getting along quite well, you know, and they were discussing some business discerning. I don't know what they were discussing or whatnot, but they were discussing, they were in talks, you know. And what DeBELLA said was, look, I've known Eddie since he was a kid, you know, since he's still in trousers, so, you know, I know his dad too, you know, well, we get along, we're good, you know, he'd be the first one, you know. And Eddie said, well, hey, you know, he'd be the first one to tell me, hey, go fuck myself, you know, if he didn't like me. So I guess that was Eddie's way of saying that DeBELLA's a real one, you know what I mean? He doesn't pull any punches, he doesn't fake for nobody, he doesn't look like that type of dude. But, you know, DeBELLA is connected to Deontay Wilder, and they did ask about that fight. Before I talk about that, let me discuss this. DeBELLA did state that if DAZN, working with DAZN is the best option for his fighter, that he would gladly make that decision to go to DAZN. Okay, that's the important thing about this video I want to discuss. You know, if it's in the best interest of the fighter, because regardless of how he feels about Eddie Hearn, and they don't have any beef, it's all about business at the end of the day. So if he feels that his fighter, the best fight for his fighter would be, or the best option for his fighter is to go on DAZN, because DAZN is making big moves. You know, they are getting certain fighters matched together, you know. So if that's the case, if it's the best bet to go to DAZN, he'll fight on DAZN. So you know, that sounds promising to a certain degree. He did say Eddie knows where to go to make this fight. He knows where to go, you know, because they asked, is that fight actually being talked about? You know, and DeBELLA was like, no, not at this minute. We wasn't talking about that particular fight. You know, and then Eddie reiterated, like, all we need to do is just sit down and talk about the fight, and we're not really even getting any response or whatever. That's all I wanted to do before that time. We don't have to wait until, the next 6 weeks to talk about getting a fight made with Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, which that makes sense simply because they've been trying to do this for so long. So it's like, if you've been trying to do it for this long, you should be somewhere in the negotiations to be comfortable enough to talk about the matter, you know, to talk about getting the fight done. You know what I mean? At least have a positive sit down and, you know, and state what you want versus what you don't want. So then we'll know, they can say yay or nay. But saying what DeBELLA said about the DAZN app, and, you know, since the big moves, of course, we know that DAZN is made, you know, he says he'll look out for the best possible thing for his fighter. Now, the question is, here's the question, guys. Him saying all that, what does it mean for Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua, the fight that everyone wants to see get made? You know what I mean? What does that mean? You know, does that mean DeBELLA is willing to sit down with Deontay Wilder and advise him that, hey, DAZN is the way to go, regardless of his feelings for Eddie Hearn? You know what I mean? Because he said it himself. You know, DAZN, you know, has a pretty big checkbook. So, you know, and if he's trying to look for the best possible solutions and the best business decisions for his fighters, I think that would be a big one if he could get Deontay Wilder to sign over to DAZN to fight Anthony Joshua finally. You know what I mean? Sure, you know, let him live up his pay-per-view experience, because that's all it's pretty much going to be. It's going to be an experience, like most things in life are, you know. But the pay-per-view thing, you know, they should advise him not to get too comfortable with pay-per-view, because pay-per-view is not going to be around that much longer. especially when you're talking about the sport of boxing. UFC, again, that might be a different story, but as of right now, pay-per-view looks like it's just getting rubbed out, you know what I mean, by these app sites and everything else. So, but that's a good question, because Lou DeBELLA does have a say-so, and he does help promote Deontay Wilder. For him making remarks like that and statements like that, I think it's somewhat promising, but will it ever happen? You know what I mean? Because Deontay Wilder does have a lot of people around him. He has his trainer, he has his manager, he has a promoter, you know, and he has another co-promoter. It's a lot. It's a lot of people that's eating. You know, Shelly Finkel, Al Heyman, Lou DeBELLA, and his trainer. You know, those are a lot of people. So it's the question on what Lou DeBELLA says, because he seems like a pretty stand-up guy on the things he says, you know, because he knows that can only be held against him later on if he contradicts himself. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I feel that he should at least talk to Deontay Wilder and tell him, like, look, this is business. I might not like Eddie Hearn personally either, but this is business. You know, drop him down like that, because, man, this fight is either going to happen or it's not. The more people talk about this fight, you see Eddie Hearn, you see Lou DeBELLA in the same place. They're talking like they know each other. You know, they respect each other. I don't even see any animosity there. You know what I mean? They were kind of stating the facts on where boxing is going from here. You know, and then, of course, the AJ and Wilder negotiation started, but they kind of shut that down. Lou DeBELLA was like, no, we haven't talked about that. We need to focus on Tyson Fury, and it would be stupid to not focus on Tyson Fury with his awkward style, because he can box and he does have speed, movement, and experience. So, you know, I can understand that for a certain point of time. But I think if Lou DeBELLA and Eddie Hearn are that cool, you know, at least on speaking terms when they see each other, I don't see why Lou DeBELLA can't override or step in for Shelly Finkel, because Shelly Finkel does have a problem with Eddie Hearn personally. You know, I think he has just as much as a vendetta against Eddie Hearn than Deontay Wilder does. So now I have an niggling suspicion. Where did it originate from Wilder? Did it originate from Shelly talking shit about Eddie Hearn, talking smack? You know what I mean? Or did it come from some other reason that pissed Deontay Wilder off, that it makes him reluctant to even want to make a fight with him or his promotional company? You know, where did it come from? Did it come from Shelly Finkel, or did it originally come from Wilder, you know, naturally not liking Eddie Hearn? That would be a question I would have, you know what I mean? Because a lot of people, a lot of promoters will have you not liking another promoter because you're not that promoter, and that fighter doesn't have all the facts, all the business facts on what went down. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's a little promise. You know, it's a little promising, because now we know it's a guy that will actually talk to Eddie Hearn to try to make this fight. You know what I mean? Hopefully. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about Lou DeBELLA collaborating with Eddie Hearn and other fights and other cards. Of course, please subscribe, hit the like button, and you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.